Greetings, Moody students, and welcome to week 6 of Second Temple Jewish Backgrounds. I don't know if you've noticed it, but we are now in week 6, and at the end of this week, you are 3/4 of the way, or 75% of the way, through this course. So you're beginning to look at the end line, I suppose. And it may be that at this point you're a little overwhelmed. Well, if you are, go back a couple weeks and look at the announcements and the devotional I gave on just that issue of when you're feeling overwhelmed. But another way of looking at it is the way I've written this week's devotional. What about looking forward? And if something is about to be achieved, and once that's achieved, that's a real encouragement. So we're only 3 weeks away from finishing this course. At the end of this week, you're only 2 weeks away. So begin looking at that finish line just a bit and be encouraged that it's in view. And this week ought to be a special treat anyway, because this week you're going to be studying about Jesus, the Jewish Messiah. And we've got 3 objectives for you this week. First, we want you to be able to explain the theme of Messiah in Second Temple Jewish literature and how that enriches New Testament studies. Secondly, we want you to be able to demonstrate familiarity with the cultural and religious environment of Second Temple Judaism as it relates to Messiahism. And then finally, we want you to create exegetically based ideas about Jesus the Messiah for teaching, preaching, and counseling in personal discipleship. Now this week you've got a fair amount of reading. You've got reading in your textbooks, reading in Scripture, and a couple journal articles we want you to read. In the textbooks, only 2 of them really are the least bit lengthy. In Scott, you've got about 17 pages to read. In Bateman, Bach, and Johnson, you've got about 18 pages. House, you've got 3 pages. Lesor, Hubbard, and Bush, you've got about 5 pages. And in Elwell and Yarbrough, you've got about 5 pages. And then you've got a delight this week because you're going to be doing a fair amount of reading in Scripture. We want you to read 2 Samuel 7, Psalm 2, Isaiah 7, Isaiah 9, 1 through 7, Isaiah 11, 1 through 10, Jeremiah 23, 5 through 8, Daniel 7, and Ezekiel 34 and 37. And then you've got a couple journal articles here, both about 20 pages in length. Sailhamer's The Messiah and Hebrew Bible from JETS, the Journal for the Evangelical Theological Society, and Walter Kaiser's article, The Old Testament as a Messianic Primer, from Trot. And then you've got only one assignment this week, and notice it isn't due till week 8. That is sharing the gospel from the Old Testament. Take some time, go through the week 6 folder here in the course shell. Be sure we've covered everything. Be sure you get everything done and turned in that's due. While this is the only assignment this week, I believe you've got an assignment from a previous week that is due this week. So be sure to check that out in the week 6 folder. Well, that's pretty much it. I think everybody's on board with their personal introductions finally, so do maintain contact with one another. And remember that discipleship requires 2 things. It's got to be personal, and there needs to be accountability. So work with one another, encourage one another, and do access other forums in the community posts. I try to keep these up to date. I fall behind sometimes, but I do get them caught up. So take some time to look at these. And once again, as I finish up this announcement, if for any reason you need to contact me, please email me as soon as the thought crosses your mind. Don't hesitate. And if something is really time sensitive and you need to talk to me, feel free to give me a phone call. Both my email and phone numbers appear below. Well, that's pretty much it for this week. Blessings on you and your ministries and other responsibilities this week. As always, I'm affirming and advocating the biblical, historical Christian faith.